Kenya has been nicknamed the Silicon Savannah for many good reasons. Today, I'm going to be speaking with Kenfield Griffith, who is the CEO of the first customer experience company in Africa. Ajua, right? How do you pronounce it?
Ajua, correct.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
So what does that mean? How did that name come to be?
So Ajua, actually, it's a game. It's
Okay.
like, it's original chess, originated in Africa.
Okay.
And it's actually exported to 90 different countries, right? So if you think about it, we think of Ajua as one of those tech startups that is going to grow beyond Africa and originate in Africa. So we really embrace the name Ajua because we believe that the next generation tech is actually going to emerge from the continent.
Right. That's interesting. So you started out with Msurvey, right?
Yep.
The service you provide, is it still the same as when you moved to Ajua?
That's a great question. So originally, and the problem that we're solving is the lack of visibility to consumers.
Okay.
So we originally said, how do we mechanically solve that, right? Through surveys. So we just branded as Msurvey. And we realized that this problem is bigger than just surveys. Because if you think about the payment infrastructure and fintech, it's actually emerging into commerce happening. If you think of, back in the Western cultures, whereas now you have transactions such as Visa, whatsoever, you're creating commerce, which also lends itself to understanding consumers. So we're seeing the same thing happen on the continent through mobile. So now you're seeing a lot of commerce activity, but it's still transactions. So we believe as Ajua, we're actually bringing visibility to that whole ecosystem to understanding who the consumer is. Africa, from a perspective of infrastructure, we are solving that problem as well. So acquiring new customers. So consumer visibility is important for business growth. So we actually had to rebrand to Ajua because Msurvey was it's one vector of information.
Yes.
We're actually creating a holistic 360 view of the consumer.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. So instead of just survey, there are other tools and services you can provide.
Yep.
I was reading about your background and something struck me, right? It was the fact that you have a PhD from MIT. So why didn't you choose to do something in computing, or why didn't you go work for Google or any of these big companies, right? And how does that now play into the work you do at Ajua?
That's a great question. I mean, MIT is like the crux of solving big problems, right? Bigger than yourself. And for me, Google is solving a problem already. Yeah. As I was doing my PhD, Africa was my focus point of how do we create better information systems around the continent? And that was the problem I was trying to solve. So obviously the next move is to go and attack the problem. So for me as a PhD is just, it's not just a dissertation, it's actually really spending time solving that problem that's bigger than yourself. And for us, if you think of what's happening on the continent, whereas we have fragmented markets, we're trying to defragment that information to really bring clarity to consumers on the continent. And that for me is actually a continuation of a PhD, and it's fun, right? You have a great team around me that really understand and believes that this problem could be solved. And if we solve it, we're creating a huge opportunity for business transactions, commerce. We're actually changing economies at scale. 1.3 billion consumers. Yeah. Bringing visibility to consumer commerce, it's huge. Yeah. It's huge. And then for us, we really want to drive that problem and really solve that problem as a team.
Nice. And you mentioned something about consolidation of markets. How does that play in with expansion plans? Right?
Sure.
Also because many other startups and companies like to expand to either hedge regulatory risk or some risk country specific. But generally with your defragmentation, right? How are you going about it?
I think for us, I'm an entrepreneur, and just as if you're in Silicon Valley, you have the common problems of a startup, right? It's just that our problems are different in this market, right? But we're still entrepreneurs at heart. We're trying to solve that problem, right? So whether it's regulatory issues, that's just a part of the problem that you're solving.
Yes,
so at the end of it, you can't really dodge that, right? You're trying to inherently, as a Ajua, solve the consumer consolidation problem. So as for us, we're not trying to dodge it. You know, for instance, Nigeria, over 200 million consumers. You know, we're inserting ourselves into that country because we believe that if we drive visibility to commerce, you're going to drive a different Nigeria. And we believe Nigeria has huge potential. Huge potential. You have consumers who are aspirational consumers. What if you capture that? You can bring so many products and services to this ecosystem that's changing the face, the most populous country on the continent. Unlock it, huge potential, right? So we can't really dodge it. We have to go head on and say, yes, this is part of the problem, right? And by dodging it, you're not really solving the problem, right? You know, because you're dodging it. You know,
and it's probably going to meet you in front.
and obviously, and meet you in front, whereas you didn't expect it. By understanding that problem exists within the problem space, you can actually prepare for it, right? So regulatory issues, like, yes, that is a problem. So we need to actually think ahead that if we come up against that, we can actually solve it.
I'd come back to that regulatory speak. MTN Nigeria is one of the biggest companies in Nigeria, right? 60 million plus subscribers and the biggest telco, right? So how did you decide, first of all, on the maybe first Nigerian company to work with? And how is that partnership or collaboration playing out?
Got it. So, you know, as part of Ajua, we build core infrastructure. Right. So our goal is to build infrastructure where we're touching consumers. And for us, telcos is a huge part of that strategy. Right. As we, you know, Safaricom in East Africa, MTN across West Africa and across Africa. For us, you know, we're solving also an inherent problem for businesses. If you think about Nigeria, MTN is serving a lot of businesses. So as we said, okay, if we want to solve this problem at scale, who's the best partner to partner with? As you said, you know, MTN has over 60 million subscribers, right? And I think they're growing. You know, just on the SME side, there's over 37 million SMEs they have on their network. Right? So if we're saying that we want to be that customer experience platform for business in Africa, we have to go big, right? And MTN, as you mentioned, it's a big opportunity for us to go. I mean, we just launched 4 weeks ago, and we have close to 10,000 SMEs on our platform already. So it shows you the scale, and more importantly, that we are solving an inherent problem that didn't exist: digitalization of businesses. Not just SMEs, but micro SMEs, where you just have one owner who says that I want to grow. Right, I want people to know about my brand. I want to increase my sales. I want to I want to get new customers, and also I want to retain my current customers. So we really want to drive that. And obviously, you know, the continent is huge. We can't do it alone. We have to seek partnerships who are like-minded and really understand that this is a problem that we want to inherently solve to really drive and bring SMEs online. And that's what we're doing.
So just to crystallize some of the products or services Ajua provides. So how would you categorize them? So what are the products or services that Ajua provides?
So we're inherently we're a customer experience management platform. So what does that mean? It means that we're helping businesses understand truly who their customer is. Right?
How?
For instance, by giving them more access to information about them. Right? So it's not just a transaction. Right? Whereas, oh, this person spent 200 naira. Who's that person behind that spend of 200 naira? So if they want to spend more naira, what products and services do I bring to them, right? Because now you're not, I mean, a business grows because of their customer. You don't want a one-time customer. You want a customer to return, right? And the more you know about them, the more you can actually offer new products and services for them to return. So for us, we really give you a 360 view of who your customer is, right? So help you on your sales, exposure to branding, also automation, whereas we're moving from pen and paper to now complete systems where you have an automation between you and your customer for scale. Remember, we're talking about one owner of a shop who the only customers they see are the ones that come into their shop, footfall. We want to increase that. We want to give them access to markets. So we're giving them access to market with our platform. And then for us, it's all through customer experience. You know, as you see, you know, the big players in other cultures, like Qualtrics and Medallia, these are $15 billion worth companies, right? Because they're giving information for business to growth, and businesses value that information, right? They want to know who you are. And I think more specifically, the culture of the continent It's people to connection.
Yes, a lot of community and belonging.
Yes,
yeah.
right. Yeah. So we're inserting that with tech. How do I know you more than a transaction? I want to know who you are. And we're bringing that people-to-people connection back, despite we're going to for digitalization.
Okay, so I think that gives a very high-level understanding of what Ajua is. So if we could touch on, the products itself, right? What are some of the products? What do customers get when they, subscribe or sign up to use Ajua?
So we're a SaaS platform, right?
Okay.
Software as a service. Yeah. So we drive customer experience for any business, any size business. So on the enterprise side, which is like your telcos, your banks, they get Ajua 360.
Okay.
So it sits within their framework as infrastructure. So every touch point within that customer journey, they're seeing their customer, right? So they're seeing a full view of who their customer is. And then on Ajua Merchant, which is specifically for MSMEs, right? Micro and small, medium-sized businesses. So they actually get an app. So the app gives them visibility to transactions that are happening within their business. So payments, they're seeing the payment transactions. They're also seeing when their customers are coming. They're also, if a customer gives you a bad score, they can actually send them discounts and say, I'm sorry to hear that, and here's a discount on my next offer. So it's really driving retention for these businesses, big and small, right? And what we've done over the few years is really understand what drives business growth for bigger businesses, and we're bringing all that value in a simple mobile platform for SMEs. So now owners of businesses are walking around with their business in their pocket, literally. Whether it's the generator goes down, they still have access to their customer. Whether there's no power, they still can receive payments. So we're really driving that visibility to those transactions and understanding who's behind those transactions. So you as an SME, you can open up your app and understand who's coming, when they're coming, what they're buying, and more importantly, who is the profile of that customer. So I'm get to know that customer intimately, so I can drive new business to that customer.
So when you look at Silicon Valley, based in the US, right, some of the world's billion-dollar startups are, coming out of that place. So we know, right, that, countries play a role in the success of startups. Right. Are there things the Kenyan government or the Kenyan ecosystem has done to enable startups like yours thrive? Right. Because I'm thinking other countries can benefit from this.
Exactly. It's a learning, right? What has been successful in Kenya that can be transferred to other countries on the continent. But I think mainly is what supports startups, right? If you see, there's a lot of tech startups coming up, right? So you think about core infrastructure, IT infrastructure. I can give you some names like Dr. Bitange Demo, who was a PS of ICT at the time, who enabled the internet undersea cable to Kenya, making Kenya one of the fastest internet countries in Africa, right? So now you have startups that are building on top of that infrastructure. And M-Pesa, to some extent as well, is also infrastructure. You're formalizing the payment ecosystem. So now you have commerce happening. So now you can build on top of that commerce. So if you think from a regulatory perspective, you have folks in government who are visionaries, right? And they can say, okay, what does it need? What does the ecosystem need for tech to thrive, and also entrepreneurship to thrive? And I think that ICT infrastructure is very important, right? Because if you think about our markets, they're mobile first markets and mobile only markets. You have to have a cloud infrastructure to make that happen. And the cloud infrastructure sits on fundamental ICT infrastructure. So really building that core, I think that could be transferred to other markets, right? I mean, Nigeria, you have the InterSwitches, the Flutterwaves, the Paystacks that are also formalizing the informal, right? So now other platforms could be built on that, right? So I think it's really enabling the infrastructure and what the infrastructure means in each market. And ICT is a big thing, right? And information communication technology. All right,
that makes a lot of sense. So internet penetration, availability of infrastructure like M-Pesa, is really making startups thrive. Before I let you go, given your years of operation, what do you see as your next maybe 2 years, 5 years for Ajua?
So I mean, Ajua, we are driving to be a category leader in what we do, right? Customer experience platforms weren't actually built for the continent because of three main things. Fragmented markets. 2, mobile only markets. And 3, 60% of consumerism actually happens offline. So we're consolidating all that stuff to make sure that we're driving core infrastructure ourselves. So we're actually part of the solution to, as you're saying, the infrastructure problem. So, you know, as we look at East Africa, really shoring up that Eastern corridor and then also Western Africa by entering really aggressively into Nigeria and also looking at shoring up that Western corridor as well. Because we really want to drive customer experience, because it's not just me. There's Harvard research, independent white papers that show that customer experience management drives business growth. And fundamentally, if you look at the tech in Africa, they're trying to solve inherent consumer problems, right? Whether it's health, education, better transaction systems. That's what we're trying to enable. Understanding who the consumer is. Unless you understand who the consumer is, you can't design products and services for them. So inherently, that's the gap. Understanding who the consumers are to drive better products and services. So that's what we enable. We actually enable, we ourselves, enabling other startups to thrive, right? And other businesses to thrive.
All right, so we should be expecting an Ajua in Nigeria, maybe Ghana soon.
You know, for us, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Nigeria is a huge undertaking for us, and you know, we want to really go aggressive in Nigeria, because we believe that if we crack that, I mean, I think Africa is our oyster, right? And I think for us, Nigeria is a great example, right? Because you're talking about sheer scale and size, and we, you know, obviously, as we said, we partner with MTN, which is in over 17 other African countries. So it also gives us the ability to look at, okay, what other countries we want to move in. But inherently, driving a solution for SMEs, right? Digitalization of SMEs is important for formalizing what's happening in the informal sector, making sure that people have visibility to who their customer is for three main things, you know, to drive operational efficiency, meaning that now they have automation, right? They can actually use technology between them and their customer to scale. Two, to just fundamentally understand who their customer is. If I understand my customer, I can sell more to them. You know, you want milk today? Great. You want flour tomorrow? Great. Now I can actually create better inventory and planning. And then three, because of fragmented markets and infrastructure, giving them access to more than just the customers that are coming into their store, right? And fundamentally, that's what we're driving for business growth that then drives economic growth and then drive the whole continent forward. And for us, you know, we want to solve that fundamental problem.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Kenneth. It's been an amazing conversation. Chilly weather notwithstanding.
No, that's fine.
Chatting with you. Thank you.
I mean, this is Kenneth this time. It's a short rain season, so you have very, it's a bit chilly. But thank you so much for this opportunity. And and really look forward to seeing you in Nigeria as well.
Yeah, thank you. So with all of my guests, we always play a short game.
Sure.
All right, so for today's game, I'll give you a letter. You make 2 words out of it.
Sure.
Don't waste time.
No, let's go.
Ready? A.
Ajua, Africa.
C.
Customer, cool.
F.
Facts, feedback.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing time.
Appreciate it. Hi everyone, my name is Kenfield Griffith, CEO and co-founder of Ajua on the Big Tech Show, brought to you by Accelerate TV and AFF.
You saw the CEO and co-founder of Ajua, a customer experience company, Kenneth Griffith. He also shared tips on how they are transforming the way users get to give feedback on companies and how companies take that feedback. To find out where I'm going to be next, keep watching The Big Tech Show.